the other things can come on later. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to just do a quick introduction of the LMS, and I'm going to look at what I call the core competencies, what you really need to be able to do your jobs under this crisis situation. All right, so I'm going to share my screen and get started right away. Okay, so this is where we're going to start. So what is Moodle? I already said that it's kind of a learning management, a learning platform, a learning management system. Some call it course management system. You know, that there are kind of two types of learning management systems, and people are kind of merging them nowadays. You have those management systems that allow you to manage the administrative things that you need to do in school, such as your attendance register, your reports, your grades, right? And you have the other ones that really allow you to administer your course. So store information, share information with students, interact with students. And what you find is that some of these systems that are coming on board now are merging the two. So there will be new things to learn. All right. So there are always new things to learn. So don't be worried about that. And once you learn one of these, you tend to learn the others very quickly because they use similar mechanisms. All right. So it's, first of all, Moodle is a open source software. It means that the people who design the software have given up their copyrights. They allow other people to improve it, to play around with it, and to improve it if they can. And there is no negative consequences for doing that. All right. So what are the benefits of Moodle? Using Moodle. So Moodle allows for what we call synchronous and asynchronous learning. And of course, you probably are getting tired of this now. These two terms are becoming popular. Well, what it means is that it allows you to have live interaction with your student, all right, through things like forums and various quizzes and stuff like that. You have asynchronous, that allows you to basically leave information, material for students to interact with anytime they please. It doesn't have to be live, all right? So that's what those things mean. I'm sure you probably know this by now. Students and teachers have ongoing access is very important, right? Especially nowadays, students, they lose the handouts, they forget to do things, and the fact that the information is always there allows them permanent access once they have online access, of course. You can also do ongoing assessment, right? And one of the things which the Moodle does for you, when you do quizzes and stuff, it gives you a report which allows you to analyze student performance and responses pretty quickly, pretty easily. And of course, it's available in a variety of languages used all over the world. Teachers and students can stay in touch all the time if you choose that. Of course, we know that this is something that you have to manage carefully because you know, teaching can take over your entire life if you're not careful. But of course, this can be very useful in a time like this. For example, when you have exams coming up, you can remain in touch with your students at critical times when you want to. All right. And of course, it allows student engagement in a variety of ways, different media. You can use videos, you can use audio, you can use files. You can have forums, right? You can have various types of conversation, quizzes, etc. We'll go through some of those. And students can submit assignments, and teachers can mark those assignments on the go, which is very, very important. This is part of the problem that we have now. I think this is a big advantage of Moodle, is that the way it allows students to submit assignments, teachers to set them assignments. On the Moodle, students can submit their assignments, and you can mark it on Moodle all in one. or if you set a quiz, for example, Moodle can mark it itself, and the grades can be, for example, if you use RenWeb at your school, the grades can be then sent over to RenWeb, because it can be synchronized. The two technologies can be synchronized in that way. We're going to look at some other synchronizing relationships that Moodle has as well that can prove very useful to you. All right, so what are the things that you can do? You can upload activities and resources, all right? And it's a critical thing that we're going to look at today, all right? So you can upload files such as documents, folders, PowerPoints, videos, PDF files, all kinds of things. All the material that you have, once you convert it to soft copy, you can basically upload on Moodle, okay? URL, very, very important. I'm going to show you how to do that today. Because there are some files that are too large. We're going to see that when the Moodle will have a certain capacity, right? And some files that might be very large, or might be a long video that you want them to see. And what you do, you send the URL instead of the video, all right? As I said, you can upload assignments as well, and quizzes, forums, chats, surveys, games, Zoom class as well. Those of you who've been doing Zoom classes can be incorporated into Moodle as well. I'm going to show you that. Yes, I'm going to take, there's a couple of questions at a certain point, okay? So those of you who have raised your hand, if you could write the question in the chat, or you could just wait a second or two, and I will take just a couple of questions. All right, so let's talk about what is required for Moodle. So there are two ways you can do it, okay? One is that you can gain access via the school platform. In other words, your school has purchased or will purchase a Moodle account, all right? So depending on the size of your school, right, it's gonna cost you different amounts. We're gonna talk about that in a second, all right? So once the school purchases a Moodle account, all right, then you can log on using that, and that would be preferable because there are a lot of things that you can do with that, all right? So you will need to establish username and password for both students and teachers for them to have access. And it would be good if, for example, your school has some sort of Google Suite, because then the students can have a systematic email process, right? So that your emails are clear, what the teachers will have and what the students will have. Our school has such a system. So the teachers will have a certain format for their email. First name, first initial of the first name, and then last name at campioncollege.com. All right. And if your school does that, that's also nice and makes it more organized and convenient for everybody. All right. And so depending on your school, your IT department or admin will set up the courses, and then in the Moodle, that from your timetable, and then that would be automatic for you. But you can also set up your courses in there, and Moodle has instructions to do that. Okay, so those are the basic requirements in terms of you as a teacher. All right, the other way you can gain access for, suppose your school doesn't have a Moodle account, you haven't purchased a Moodle account, then an individual teacher can set up a Moodle account and set up a course with his or her students. And this is especially useful for teachers at primary and basic school level, because of the number of people that are allowed to have a free Moodle account. I think it's 50 at the moment. So if you have a class of 40 or 30 or 20, then this is pretty convenient. You don't have to pay for a school account. All right, you can actually set it up yourself. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go to Moodle.org to show you what that looks like, and then I'm gonna come back to this. I'm gonna do a new share. So right, so here we are at Moodle.org, and if we just scroll down the page. Of course, they're doing a bit of advertising there. Because it's open source software, it's helped by the community, of course, they accept donations. Now, so if your school is interested, okay, here are the things they need to consider, all right? I think this is Australian dollars, all right? So depending on the number of users and the amount of storage that you want, you have to pay more per year, all right? So those are your packages, okay? And if we scroll down, there are two things I want you to pay attention to. For those interested in the free trial, the primary school teacher, free trial might be good for you, right? Don't need to have a free account. You don't need to have a school account. So if you just click on this one here, all right, takes you to another page, new to Moodle, ready to get started. All right, so you can go here and look at a demo. All right, so I go here. I'm going to go to a live demo. Take me to a live demo.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Yes, persons are saying that they're not seeing the screen, so I'm not sure.
Okay, all right. Let me go new share.
Yeah. I am seeing it, but I'm not sure what's happening.
All right.
All right, just continue. The person said that they're seeing. So continue.
Okay, good. All right, everybody seeing the new screen now? Good. All right, so if I go to take me to a live demo, okay, and I click on that, you'll see that they set up a demonstration Moodle page for you. All right, Mount Orange School. Try Moodle in a real school environment with ready-made accounts. All right. So I can see Moodle in action. I can read about Mount Orange. All right, what is a fictitious school? All right, and you can choose a role. So you're a teacher, so you can click on that, a teacher, and they tell you how to log in as teacher and password Moodle, and you can actually go in and play around with how to use Moodle. All right, so they show you what to do, how the Moodle page will look. All right, and then they also show you what are the things that you can do. You can assess and evaluate, how you can assess and evaluate, how you can provide learning resources, how you can collaborate, how you can communicate with your students. All right, so all of those things are in there that you can go and check that out. All right, so I encourage folks to check that out, because this way you can get a feel for what you would do without paying anything, all right? And you can actually learn to start using this without paying a thing, okay? So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back a little bit. All right. I'm gonna ask you to help me out now. All right, so what page are you seeing there now? You seeing this page here? View, if I can go down to view our quick start guide at the bottom. So I went back to the package page, all right, the first page. And if I click on view our quick start guide, more hands raised. Rochelle, are they seeing?
Yes, so Persons are saying yes.
Okay. Okay.
Persons are saying yes.
Okay, good. So, right, so the quick start guide, it really goes through how to use Moodle, right? So there's, first of all, there's a PDF there, which with the basic steps of how to start up, right? That you can download and read if you prefer. Some people prefer to read, right? To do these things.
Mr. Miller, can you go in the security setting and disable annotations, please?
I just did. I did that a while ago.
All right, because there's still markings on the screen, so you can just clear.
Yeah. Clear. Okay. Clear. Yeah. I think I've just disabled annotations. So that should be good. All right. So yes. All right. So all right. So if we can download the PDF, as I said, and you can read out the instructions of setting up your teaching space, setting up your course, adding materials, creating engaging activities, getting learners to your Moodle site. In other words, how to allow students to log in and use your Moodle page or your course page. All right. Or some of us are more visual or audiovisual, we can watch the videos. All right. So if you scroll down, you see the videos that correspond to all of those instructions. How to create a course in my Moodle, right? How to drag and drop files in the Moodle, all right? Create engaging activities, there's a video for that. Get learners to your site, there's a video for that. And many, many other things. There are many more videos on Moodle, right? They have a YouTube page. You can just go on YouTube and type in Moodle. .org or Moodle, the YouTube page should come up, and that has a litany of instructions of how to start your Moodle page and how to use Moodle. All right, I really encourage you folks. It's not very difficult at all. So what I'm going to do next is that I'm going to just show you my Moodle page and how to do some of the basic core things like adding resources. And later, Rochelle is going to show you how to set up a quiz. So I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint here, just finish up. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. So we're going to go through now some, what I call critical competencies, right? The things that you really need to know upfront, right? Most important things that you need to know in order to use Moodle, all right? You're going to see me kind of do a little bit of repetition because I want to go slow so that persons who have never been exposed to this can get a little bit of a hang of it, all right, before we're finished today. All right, so here are the things that you need to do. We need to know how to upload learning materials through files and using URL. Uploading assignments and starting a forum or chat, sending messages and email to students, and setting up a quiz, all right? So I would say, if I was to say two things that you really need to learn in the Moodle, first up is two things are uploading learning materials and setting up a quiz. Okay, you want to be able to assess whatever materials that you have given the students, whatever teaching you have given, you want to be able to do an assessment. So definitely need to be able to upload learning materials, and you need to be able to upload assignments and set up a quiz, all right? And you can play around with doing a forum or a chat later. That is easy too, and sending messages and email to students. But we're gonna start by looking at uploading files and using URLs, all right? So again, I'm gonna do a new share, and I'm gonna go to my Moodle page at Campion College. Can you just confirm that you're seeing my Moodle page at Campion College from Rochelle, please?
Repeat that for me, sir, what you said?
Can you confirm that you're seeing Campion College?
Yes, yes, I am seeing that.
All right, good. So I'm gonna go. All right, so first of all, in the top right-hand corner, you saw me press login. All right, let me just go back. All right, so this is Campion College. They have purchased a Moodle account, and so they have a page here. So I would go to the top right-hand corner where I see login. I'm going to click on that. All right, and then this is my login page. All right, of course, you have to have a username and password. All right, so I'm typing in my username and password. And I'm going to log in. All right, so this is my course page, my personal homepage as a teacher in the system. All right, so let me just quick review of the layout. All right, I just want you to focus on the left-hand side first. All right, so on the
Mr.
left.
Miller, maybe, no, continue, never mind. I was just saying you could probably zoom out a little bit so we can see more of the page.
Oh, okay. All
But
right.
if you're going to be scrolling, that's fine.
Okay. I'm going to be scrolling. Okay. All right. So this is what it looks like. Okay. On the left-hand side is a listing of my courses. All right. Now, my name is Miller, and I actually have 3 classes. Okay. 6B chemistry, or Unit 1 chemistry, and 2 Unit 2 chemistry classes here. But they're into one because, I mean, they're doing the same material, getting the same teaching, so they're rolled into one Moodle class. All right, so although there are 2 actual classes of 30 odd, they are rolled into one Moodle class online. There's another class here which is for another teacher. Now this is here because during the lockdown period, what we did was that we pooled resources. So I taught the whole of lower 6, and she would have taught the whole of another form, say 4th form, and so so that the resources were not as stretched. All right. So that is why this course is here, but this course would normally not be here. These are my 2 courses. All right, and then there's a listing of professional development for staff and so on that left-hand side. So you have some options there your admin can add. Okay, all right, so let me just take you back now to the top right-hand corner. All right, top right-hand corner, you're supposed to see, all right, the notification. So when you say your student made a communication to you, left a message, when you go in, you would see this light up. All right, and you see messages or something there, so you would know. All right, and there's a chat, there's a messaging. All right, so anything new will come under notification, and chat is there. And then this little drop down button here, I don't have a profile picture up. If you click on it, very important, right? This is your logout. All right, so you need to be able to click on that. All right, so. And that's where you come out, okay? Below that, you have announcements and you have a calendar. So, and the calendar has highlighted things. So for example, if you had deadlines or if you had classes set, so this was a live consultation class that I had on July 3. And then yesterday I would have had a long session with my students in preparation for their exams today. All right, just like that, okay? And so what I'm gonna do now is to show you, to go within a course to show you how we do basic upload of files and assignments, all right? So I'm gonna click on the 6A chemistry course. I'm gonna click on that one. All right, so this is my 6A chemistry course, my Unit 2 chemistry course. All right, so I'm gonna go by sides again, go left-hand side. So on left-hand side, you can see the different topics or the different areas. I have general chemistry and labs here. All right, and I've played around a little bit with the title. And I have the lab templates listed here, the lab instructions, and I have the different topics, the different materials in there. So I have PowerPoint, I have quiz, and so on and so forth. Okay, listed all the way down. This is during the period where we started to have online learning. So you'll see some Zoom classes here that we went through, that were set up, and quizzes, different topics, areas for lab submission, recordings of the online sessions. The students can access the recordings, so we recorded it, the Zoom sessions, and put them in a file, and the students could access them. And this was exam preparation. Okay, so that's your left-hand side. That's where you put, that's where all your resources go. Now, I want to go to the top right-hand side now. This gear button, right? There are two buttons that I want you to remember for today. If you forget everything, remember two things, right? The gear button, right? And under the gear button, you're gonna get some options, all right? And there's one important thing that I want you to remember. When you touch the gear button, right? And it's turn editing on, right? The pencil always means editing, right? Typically, those of you who play around with technology, right? So turn editing on, right? The gear button, you click on that and you turn editing on. I want you to remember that. That's the first thing I want you to write down today if you're not writing, right? Write down this. This is the key, all right? Gear button, turn editing on. So I'm gonna click on that. All right, and that allows you to edit everything now that you have on your page. All right, so first of all, you can edit a topic. All right, so if I click on this, I can edit this topic by taking out the silly Y. All right, and just pressing enter. It does tell you there to escape. Press escape to cancel and press enter when finished. So enter, and you see that that is fixed. I've gotten rid of the labsy. It's now general chemistry and labs. All right, that's it. If I want to get rid of that topic altogether, I go to the right-hand side. All right, and you can edit the whole section. All right, now here you go. Let's just look at one of the topics that I've added here. I've added lab number 1, redox back titration. I can edit the title and press 1 there, and then enter. And that's it.
Mr. Miller, can you just zoom out a little bit? Zoom out your page a little bit?
All right, give me a second with that. Zoom. I'm trying to. All right. I'm trying here. Rachel, where I go for that? I'm at the bottom.
Click the 3 dots that's beside I.
Oh, this, okay, up here. And I'm gonna go less than 100%. Is that better?
Yeah, that's a little bit. Go down a little bit more.
80,
yeah.
That's good?
All right, yeah.
All right, good. We're seeing better now. All right. So yes, so we can go redox back titration. All right. Some people are raising their hand. Rochelle, you can find out exactly what the issue there is.
Some persons are saying that it's too small now.
I guess for the phone people on the phone, it will become too small.
Right.
Go back to 90. I'm going to go back to 90.
All right.
Better?
Yeah, let's just stay at 90.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, let's stay with 90. All right. So right. So we can edit the topic here on the left-hand side, or we can edit the whole thing. So suppose I have lab number 1, redox back titration. I made a mistake and I want to get rid of it. I can go to the right-hand side and click on that edit. All right, drop down, and here we have some very important information now. So let's look at it. So we have delete, right? So we can get rid of that out of my Moodle page by deleting. Okay, I can duplicate, all right? But I want to introduce you to this one, the eye. Little eye icon here, hide. Okay, so here's the one great thing I didn't mention to you about Moodle. Whatever you put up there stays up there. So when I have my chemistry classes next year, okay, that information will be there. Okay, So what do? I can just hide the information that I don't want them to see it. Okay? So I can go ahead and hide this, hide back titration.
Breaking up.
Okay, I'm breaking up. I think that might be my,
Yeah, I wasn't hearing.
okay, you're hearing me now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
All right. I can go ahead and hide something else. Suppose I want to hide gravimetric analysis. I click on the edit down button, and then I press hide, and that's now hidden from the students. All right. So next year, what I can do, I can decide when to show these, right? So at the start of the year, I can say, okay, it's time for lab 1, and I'm going to just click editing again and just press show. And then that shows up and that's visible to them. All right. So you can manage your course like that. So once you put up the information, it's always there. All right. And that what that does for you, of course, is that reduces the amount that of work that you do over time. So what you're doing, you're building your resources in one place and making it sustainable and easy to use. All right. So your life becomes easier each year, each passing year that you do the same thing. All right. Now, so remember, what's the most important thing to remember on this page? The gear button. The gear button, you press on it, turn editing on. Now, of course, if you have editing on, then you have to press on it to turn editing off. All right. So that gear button is most important. Now, I want to introduce you to the other most important button. And the next
Mr. Miller?
Yes. I'm breaking up
One
still?
one last time. Just bring back the screen to 100%, please, and just leave it at 100.
Oh, okay. So we have some people not seeing at all.
Yeah, please.
All right. Let me just. All right. The people who are raising their hands are kind of blocking me from doing just that. All right. 100%. So it's probably the people with the phone that we're not seeing then. People with the phones are probably not seeing at 100%. All right.
So I don't want to interrupt the presentation anymore. So just keep going because we have limited time. So.
All right. All right. So, okay. All right. So again, we need to know the gear button. Click on it, drop down, turn editing on or off. But turn editing on if you want to add anything or want to change anything on the course. All right. The other very important icon that you have to look at is when you scroll down under each topic, you have add an activity or resource. Now, that is very, very important. This is what you click on when you want to add something. So let me just start from scratch for you. All right. First, if you go down to the bottom, you're going to see add topic. So I'm going to add a topic and then I'm going to add an activity or resource for you. Okay. So first I'm going to add a topic. So I click on add topic. And I just want one topic. I just say add. All right. So it says topic 11 and I can edit that by clicking on the edit button there. And let's put Moodle training. All right. And I press enter and that's saved. All right. So as easy as that. And then under that, add an activity or resource. So let's say I want to upload something. Okay, I click add an activity or resource. All right, now let me just tell you what comes up here. Now what comes up here is a plethora of options, right? And I'm just going to introduce you to this, this page here quickly, and then actually add the activity or resource. All right, so you have assignments that you can add, right? And the page actually coaches you and tells you about what you need to do. If you just click on it once, you get information on what you can do here. All right, it says the assignment activity module enables a teacher to communicate tasks, collect work, and provide grades and feedback. All right, so it actually gives you information right there. And if you need more help, you can click on more help. All right, and remember, anything that you do in here, you can just go into YouTube and ask how to do it on Moodle. Right? How to upload an assignment on Moodle. You just put it in YouTube and a video pops up. All right, showing you exactly how to do this. So don't feel bad if after this you don't remember to do a specific task. right? This is really, we're just introducing you and trying to build up your confidence and using this platform. But you don't worry about not remembering to do a specific thing. You can find out. Just YouTube it, all right, or Google it. Okay. So assignment, you can click, you can do your attendance if you want to do that. There's chats, there's setting up checklists. You can go to a database, external tool forum, all sorts of games that you can put on there, all right, related to your course. You can do a glossary. I don't even know what Hotpot is. You can put in journals, you can put in a lesson, mind map, questionnaire, quiz, very important. I'm gonna look at that later. You can do a quiz, all right? And all sorts of other things. You can do a survey. You can send your assignment and turn it in to check if there has been any copyright breach, so to speak. And I want to highlight down here, you can also set up your Zoom meetings. If you look at my Moodle page, you would have seen some Zoom meetings set up through Moodle, right? So you can set up your Moodle, your Zoom meeting here. You can add resources, books. Of course, you have to be careful with this because, as I said, you will have limited space. So you might not be able to upload a whole book, but maybe pages of it. And you have to be careful with that as a teacher. Remember, there's a limit on copyrighted material. But here's an important resource, files. You want to be able to upload a file, eh? You want to be able to upload folders. And down at the bottom, URL, all right? So I'm gonna do uploading a file first. I'm gonna click on file. If I single click, I only see information, all right? I can single click and then press add, or I can double click, all right? So I'm gonna press add. And then when I see add, see my topic there, adding a new file to Moodle training. So I'm gonna put the topic, I don't know, rates of reaction or rate of reaction. And then, all right, description, worksheet. Students must do all questions on this worksheet. Do all questions on this MCQ worksheet. And you can click on files and add it, or you can drag and drop. All right, so I'm gonna go drag and drop here and rate questions, reaction kinetics. I'm gonna go and just drop it in there. Saved in there. It's not really saved to the page yet, but it's saved in there. And then I go save and return to course. I save and I go down, and there you go. Rate of reaction, it's there. All right, so that's how you add a file. Very simple. Let me just repeat it quickly for you. You go add an activity or resource, and you scroll to add what you want to add. I want to add a resource, a file. I click on file, I add, and then I put in the name. All right, I put in a description if I want. Do this. All right, and I drag and I drop, right, like that. All right, and I go, I drag it there, and it's now on the page, and I save and return to course, and there I go again. I've added an activity or resource. Now, the next thing I want to show you how to add is a URL. Now, Moodle will have a limited amount of space. Eh? Each teacher will get a limited amount of space. And so you have to be wise with what you can upload. So uploading a long video won't make it, right? It's not gonna hold. So what you want to do is you can put your video in a Google Drive, right? In your Google Drive, and then attach, share the link on Moodle. So let me just do that. So say I want to share a link. I'm going to go to my Google Drive. Are you seeing my Google Drive account there? Rochelle, are you seeing my Google Drive?
Yes, I am. Yes.
All right. So say I have, guess what? I recorded all of my 6A Zoom meetings. Okay. And I want my students to have access to those Zoom meetings, those classes that we had. I can just click on that folder, right? And then I go up to the right hand side and there, get shareable link here. Okay, or I could have right click on this and you could also get a shareable link. Okay, so I get shareable link. Okay, and then I'm gonna copy link. Okay, and I'm saying I'm done. And then I'm gonna go back to my Moodle page. Everybody see my Moodle page? Yes. And then I'm gonna go add activity or resource. I'm gonna scroll all the way down to URL. All right, I'm gonna click on that. I'm gonna add. All right, and then I put the name, record, records of Zoom meetings. All right, and I'm gonna put the link here. I'm gonna paste it in. So right click and paste in that link. All right, and then you can tell the students to view our past Zoom meetings here. All right. And I just scroll down, ignore everything else here. Scroll down, save and return to course. And there you go. Records of Zoom meetings. All right. Very easy peasy. Remember, what do we need? We need to touch the gear button and turn editing on. Once we turn editing on, we can edit anything on the page. How do we edit anything on the page? We can click on the pencil buttons on the left-hand side to change the topics, or on the right-hand side, if we want to change what we have there altogether, we click on the edit drop-down button right here. All right, and if we want to add anything, an activity or resource, we click on the add an activity or resource icon there. Very, very simple. All right. Last thing I'm going to show you is how to add an activity, how to add an assignment. All right. So I'm going to go add activity or resource and assignment. I'm going to add there. Okay. Okay. So up comes my assignment page. I'm going to say, oh, rate assignment. Rates, assignment, okay, and do all questions. All right, so leave some instructions and submit submit answers via Word document. All right, so you might want to give them instructions like that. And then you simply drop your assignment if you have it on, or you might write in your assignment in the description. You can choose what to do. So you might simply write in your assignment here. If it's just one question, for example, one simple thing you want them to do, you could write it in here. Or if it's something that you want to write on a paper, on a page, you can drag and drop your assignment here. So I can go again and say, you can say rate questions, and I can drop it in there. And then I can set up my submission dates. All right, so I can say it's due for 1 week, depending on what you have here. You have to press enable if you want the dates to come up. All right, click on enable here and the dates come up. All right, and you can put a reminder for you to grade. You can put a cutoff date if you want. You might allow some students to go, if you have a deadline, you're going to, depending on what deadline you want to stick to. All right, you can enable that and put in a cutoff date if you want, or the cutoff date is just simply the due date. depending on the teacher, of course. You want it via file submission. It allows you to submit other things via other ways like videos and audio. But for the moment, you want to stick to this file submissions while you learn the process. And then you can, under feedback types, you'll see different options. But I would suggest that you keep it simple, all right? And don't trouble that. It says save and return to course. And there you go. There's your rate assignment right there. All right, so that allows you to do that. And the student would simply click on that and do the assignment, and they would have a way to, they would see it where they needed to submit it. And the teacher can also grade. All right, so the teacher can go into, click on this, if you click on the assignment, if I go back, let me just show you. Go back and the teacher clicks on the assignment, all right? And the grading page comes up. It shows you how many participants you have, how many have submitted, all right? So nobody have submitted yet, because I just put in the assignment. And all right, the time remaining, the due date, and so on. If you want to see how you would grade it, you click on grade. All right, and you see a grading page comes up. So there's, the file would be here. All right, and you can play around with these icons to see what you can do. All right, so there's a stamp, all right, highlighter, okay. This is what you would use to write. There's your pen. You click on your pen. You want to give a tick, all right, or a little X, all right. Nowadays, they say that you should not use red, to demotivate the students. So you might want to use green. All right, you see there is a paint, the color that you want to choose. You might want to highlight something the student write by doing that. Okay, okay. All right, and you can have different shapes that you can use. All right, so all of that is, and when you're done, you would, for the student to see the grading, you would press save changes, and then that would save. So that's how easy it is, and above you'll be able to see the student name when they submitted and all kinds of information there. So that allows you to do your grading right on spot, right? You could do your SBA grading, all kind of things like that. Your classwork, tests, whatever, you can actually do it right there, and it is saved, okay? So I am going to stop there, just a quick summary. Just to say that the most important icons, all right, most important icons, gear button, where you would turn editing on, all right, so I'm turning it off there now, gear button, turn editing on, all right, once you have editing on, you can edit any topic that you want to add, you can add topics, you can edit the things that the titles that you have there on the left, and on the right, you can edit by choosing to get rid of what you've placed there. You can hide it, all right? Those are the two most important things. You can duplicate it, okay? That's important, but not so important, all right? Or you want to add an activity or resource, you scroll down and you'll see add an activity or resource. You click on that, you can add whatever you want. Assignment, you can set up chats, do attendance. That is what enables you to add resources and materials and activities for the students, okay? So I'm going to stop there. I suppose Rochelle has been answering your questions in the chat, but if we have one or two burning questions, Rochelle, I'll take them before you start.
Okay, sure, sir. Go ahead. And just to say for the persons who are asking about the presentation, it will be emailed to you once you fill out the evaluation on Friday, and the recording will be the recording for the presentations will be posted on JTC's YouTube channel. Okay. All right. Any questions? I see raised hand. Charmaine Murray, Gregor Fong Hines, Braham One, Denisha. All right, so Charmaine, you may go ahead and ask your question.
You have to unmute her, Rochelle.
Trying to unmute her, but it's not allowing me to do it.
All right, let me try. Charmaine. Okay, unmute.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I mean, if it's not, then I guess you can type
All
it
right,
in
so,
the chat.
yeah, so just write it in the chat, folks. I will try to address you in the chat. So just write it in the chat for me, please.
So most persons are asking how much of what you have demonstrated can be done with the free trial.
All of it. The free trial really is most of what I've done can be done with free trial, because I've not really even covered the full anywhere near the things that you can actually do. The free trial, the limit for the free trial is a number of participants. All right, that's the main
Okay,
limit.
and how long does it last for? How long does the free trial last for?
It says a year, but you can then do it the next year. You can do another free trial the next year. So
okay, so it can be okay. So it's okay.
Right.
Okay, no
So
problem.
all right. So you can actually just use it from year to year.
The next question, I'm just answering 3 more questions. So the next question is, if Zoom is the only thing that you can use to go live on Moodle.
You can actually go live on Moodle yourself with chats. There's no video at the moment. I'm not sure it is integrated with the Google Meeting. I suspect that it can be.
Yeah, I mean, I know for the administrators, they would have to add whatever application you want to use.
Right.
On
so
it.
The admin people would have to do it. If
Okay.
you are a free Moodle Cloud user, you'd have to figure out yourself. But I suspect that there are instructions, because even on the Moodle website, they give you instructions. They tell you some of the apps that you can add as plugins, right? So there are certain things that you can add yourself in your own Moodle account, all right? Or your admin people can add. And I mean, it's the admin people that added the Zoom for us. So I suspect that it shouldn't be any difficulty to add something like Google Meet, for example.
All right, final question. If you have the free trial and you have uploaded your documents or assessments, whatever materials you have uploaded, would you lose it once your free trial is up?
Right. Now that one I am not entirely sure of. I watched one video with a person who did that, and they didn't appear to lose it. But these things, I mean, change from time to time, so I can't guarantee you that. But I don't think you'll lose it.
Okay. All right. No problem.
There was one other question that I wanted to address. Somebody asked where did I drag and drop the information. I just had a simple file folder that had those information, so those questions. So I had those worksheet and question sheet pre-prepared. So you can just go in my file folder and I extract them, okay?
And that's from your desktop. I responded to that question in the chat, and I said from your computer. Okay, so you would have retrieved the file from the computer and drag it over into the box, right? Okay.
Right. So Rochelle, I'll go into the chat now, and then you go ahead and do your I think you're gonna do the quiz first, because that's gonna take up most of the time, or you're gonna go your normal. So I'm gonna stop sharing.
Please, right.
And
right.
allow you to take over.
All right, everybody's hearing me? Yes? Everybody's hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you, Russia.
Okay, perfect. And you're seeing my screen, right?
Yes, I'm seeing your screen.
All right. I'm going to zoom the screen in a bit. So this is my course page that I have. This is my course page. These are the subjects that I teach, biology and integrated science. The quarantine period, we pull together our resources as a department or as a school in general. So you are able to view the teachers who teach the same subjects, so no student will get left behind. So everyone will have access to the same presentations and materials that you would have uploaded. All right, I'm just gonna quickly go into one of my courses, just a quick one, say my fifth form. So let me go into my fifth form page. All right, so I'm going to zoom now so you're able to see a little better. Okay, is this view I believe is good? All right, perfect. So on this page, Mr. Miller would have walked you through how to upload your resources or any other materials that you decide for your students to be able to access. So remember, I'm just going to recap. Remember this action menu here, and it's usually the icon that you have on your phone that says settings, or any tablet or device you have. This is usually the icon for settings. So you simply click on it, and you want to make sure you turn editing on. Remember, Mr. Miller said write that down. So turn editing on, right? So once you turn editing on, you can now go ahead and add whatever it is that you would decide to upload. So we're going to focus on uploading a quiz today. My course page has a lot of information on it. I'm just scrolling down to a blank section so you're able to see. All right, so I'm just going to add a new week, and you can change that to topic. So I'm adding a new week. So I'm calling this week Moodle training. Are you hearing me still, Mr. Miller?
Yes, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. You're loud and clear.
Okay, great. So I will simply edit this week by clicking on the pencil icon there, and I'll type what I want to type there. And I simply click on enter to have it changed. It's taking some time to load. Great, it's ready. So I click on Moodle training. So this is now my new topic or my new week if you have your courses arranged in weeks. All right, great. Now I want to add a quiz. I go to add an activity or resource, right? And you simply click on add an activity. You have a list of options that come up, as Mr. Miller would have gone through a few of these. And I am going to scroll down to the one that says quiz. And then I click add. Once I click that, you simply now need to go ahead and give your quiz a title. So I'm going to say Moodle quiz. All right, so that's my 2 minute olds. Okay, Moodle quiz. That's the title for my quiz. In this section that says description, right? In this section that says description, if you want, this is pretty much what you want the students to see when they go on the course page. And I'll show you the students view in a bit because I saw that request earlier. So I want to say the student know that quiz opens Friday at 3 p.m. Closes at 6 p.m. All right, so this is any information that you want the students to see. If you want them to see this information, you have to click on the button that says display description on course page. If you don't click on this button, you're not going to be able to see it on the course page. All right, now once I fill out the name of my quiz and my description, I am going to focus now on the timing of this. So the same time that I've added in my description, I'm simply going to add this time here. Now I click enable, because if you don't click enable, you won't have the ability to edit or make any changes. To get a more accurate date, I click on the calendar icon so that I don't make an error in terms of the date. So I did say Friday. So Friday would have been the 24th. And I said it would be open. To open the quiz, I said it would have been open at 3 p.m. So I look for the time that I need, which is 15 because this is Army time. And I go, so it's 3 o'clock, right? And then I want to close it on Friday as well. So I go ahead and I click Friday, which is the 24th, and the time I set here would have been 6 p.m. So I go ahead and I set that. Now you want to limit the quiz, right? You want to limit the quiz in terms of the time. So you decide based on the number of questions you're asking the students, how long you want this quiz to be. So I'm just going to set this to be a maximum of 30 minutes, right? So once I set that to be a maximum of 30 minutes, it simply means that students only have 30 minutes to complete this quiz. Now, as Mr. Miller mentioned in his presentation, that the Moodle is able to correspond or correlate well with RenWeb, which is our grading system. So once I categorize this assignment or this quiz as a classwork, homework, or test, it would have been a test in this case. Once I categorize it as a test, then if it's multiple choice or any application that the system can mark, the grades will automatically go over into RenWeb. So I would not have to manually mark these questions unless they're open-ended questions. You can decide the amount of attempts you want your students to get. So is it that you want them to achieve mastery, so you give them several attempts if this is a practice test? If it is an official test, you would not necessarily want to give them more than one, but you can definitely tailor the attempts per student. So if you know that if you have a particular student, because we're looking at inclusive education, so if you know you have a student who would require more time, then you can definitely give that student more than one attempt, and you can add different questions each time if you decide to do that, right? So you can set your maximum attempts that you would like your students to have. Good. When you talk about layout of the page, this pretty much decides how many questions you want the students to see once the quiz is open. Right? So I prefer not to have all the questions showing on one page. So I tend to have every 2 questions or every 3 questions, depending on how many questions would be. So if I have 30 questions in this quiz, I would want probably every 4 questions or every 3 questions then per page, because we have to be mindful that students are very creative and you don't want them to be sharing information so they can screenshot the page with the questions and show their friends. You can simply just change the number of questions per page and randomize the questions, and I'll show you that. Yes, the questions can be shuffled, definitely. All right, question behavior, right? So this is pretty much whether or not you want to have the feedback. This is not very important when you're doing the quiz, really and truly. It's the review option that's the most important part of it, right? So in this option here, once the quiz is in process and they are doing one question, they'll get the point, they'll get feedback, all of that. You can change that. So if you have a class of 30 students, right, and only 10 of them would have completed the quiz, you don't want them to be able to get the answer from those who have completed it. So you want to wait until the quiz is closed before you give any form of feedback that they can access. So this says immediately after the attempt. So I usually click that all off, click everything off, right? And the points I will allow to stay. Later, while the quiz is still open, I will close this all off again because you don't want them to share the responses. When the quiz is closed, they can have access to the feedback, everything that they have done. This is what I usually do to ensure that validity is maintained. All right, everything else is fine. You don't need to focus on the rest of what is here. It's not very necessary. It's not very necessary for this aspect of the training. So you leave everything else. You don't want to complicate anything, as Mr. Miller said. So you move on, you click save and return to course once you have done all.
Rochelle, you're breaking up.
Go down to the sec.
Okay.
You're hearing me now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you back again.
Okay. All right. Seems that the internet chipped just now. All right, it should be back. Okay, so once I have done all of that, I am taken back to the section that I just created the quiz. Now, no questions have been added to this quiz yet. So all I've done is pretty much give the quiz a title, instructions on the course page, and then I am now changing the settings. Once I do that, I can now go ahead, click on the Moodle quiz, and everything has been generated here. So it tells the students how many attempts they have. It tells the students when the quiz opens, when it opens, when it closes, and their time limit. Now I want to edit this quiz by adding questions. So I go ahead to edit quiz. Now you can decide on the type of questions that you want to add. And this is the shuffle icon for the persons who are asking about shuffling the questions. You have to click on the icon here that says shuffle, and you go ahead and click save. All right, so remember the presentations will be sent once evaluation forms are filled out. Or I can add questions from my question bank, which I would have already typed and saved in, or I can add a random question, which is a little bit more complicated. Adding a random question means that you would have had to have the questions in your question bank and the system. Say you want to have students not cheating, or are you hearing me?
Yes, yeah, I'm hearing you clear now.
Okay.
There is one or two times it's tripping up, but it's okay now.
Okay, I don't know what is happening to the internet. All right, so adding a random question just simply means that you have a randomized quiz. So if you have 20 students in your class, they may all sit 20 different tests with the same level of difficulty. So it simply means that the system randomly pulls questions that you would have put in a section for them to be pulled from. So I'm going to show you adding a new question. So when you click on add a new question, you have several types of questions that will be popped up here in your pop-up screen. Now I'm going to show you how to add a multiple choice question, right? So I'm clicking on multiple choice. Once I click on multiple choice, you want to make sure that you have the questions going into the right category. So I've just created the quiz called Moodle Quiz. Once I click Moodle Quiz, that's the category that the questions will go in. Now I give the question a name. So I will say this is question 1. What I want to ask the students now, what is Moodle? That's my question here. What is Moodle? Right? And then I go down to my options. So what are the options that students will see? Now you notice this is grayed out and I'm not able to type anything there. I can simply click at the bottom here, or I can simply click paragraph. Either one is fine. Once I click paragraph, now I'm going to put what the options are. Open software. And then you can decide to have a feedback here if you want to. If say you want to, feedback is very important for students' growth and development. So for each answer, you can put the feedback there explaining what open software is and why it is not the answer. So you can choose to do that. So you don't have to physically write those feedback on their paper. You can simply just type it here and the system will show them the feedback. All right, and your option 2, I will just put LMS, online tool. All right, and the next one I'll put game. I'm just putting some random options so you can see how it's generated. All right. And once you add your options, you can add as many options as you want. Generally, multiple choice is 3 to 4 or 3 to 5 options. And then you can just simply click on more if you want it here. I am going to now save changes. Once I've saved, oh, grade, or which one it is, okay, my bad. So once I added the options, I now need to identify which one is correct. So the 100% would have been correct for open software here. All right, and I go ahead and I click Save Changes. Once I click Save Changes, then you realize that your question is now generated. Okay. Yes, there's a way to reward your students. They can get badges on Moodle, right? So I'm adding now a question for my question bank. So I've showed you how to add a new question. I'm going to show you how you add one from your question bank. So adding one from your question bank simply means you would have had to have those questions previously in Moodle. So you select the category from which you want to add those questions. All right, this is not related to Moodle. I'm just showing you how you add the questions. So they're not Moodle-based questions. So I'm adding some questions from a category, excretion. So you select how many of these questions you want to be added to the quiz. Once you select the amount that you want to add on the quiz, you simply just add selected questions to the quiz. Once you select those questions, then you go ahead now and you see it generating on your home screen. All right, and it tells you what questions will be on page 1, what questions will be on page 2. But remember, if you have shuffled it, each student will not have the same question number 1 or question number 2. All right, adding a random question now. As I mentioned before, you can choose, the system will now choose from a pool of questions. So if you want the question limit to be 20 questions, you have 100 questions in your question bank. Your system, the Moodle system will pull 20 random questions for each student. So that's how the random system works. So number of random questions, and you would select how many random questions you want to be in the quiz. So if you want 100 random questions, you put 100 in it, and then you simply, now the system will now generate any 20 of those questions. All right, so that's how the random question will work. So let's preview this quiz now. So I'm going to go to Moodle quiz. So let's preview what it looks like. So preview quiz, and you can start the attempt. So this is the option for the the quiz. This is what it looks like. So question 1, and you have your options. You can add images. I can show you how to add images. I'll do that, right? And then on the next page, you go to the next page, and these are the other 2 questions, and you finish your attempt to preview. All right, so you go back now to your Moodle quiz. All right, I'm going to demonstrate how you add your questions to the, or you add images to your questions. So I'm going to add a new, just going to edit this one that I've done before, the what is Moodle. So I'm just going to go back and edit that one and show you. So when you want to add your questions now and you want to put images, an image file there, you can simply just go ahead. The internet is moving very slow. Don't know what's happening. Okay, here it is. Okay, so what is Moodle? So I want to put an image file here. So if I want to add an image here, you can simply go ahead and click this image file here. Let me go back. So this is for image, this is for a video, and this is for a link, URL. All right, so you want to, or embedded files. So you go ahead and you find your image, right? So I'm going to upload an image, find or upload an image. So you can search the web there, or you can choose a file. So I'm just going to choose a file here. I'm just going to choose a file real quick. Let me see if I have any images on my computer. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to choose a file quickly. All right. And you simply just upload the file. And if it's too large, it will not be uploaded. All right. I don't know why this is not working. So let me just upload a different image. So that's where you would upload it from. All right. So choose a file. Let me just see if I can find a quickly. Find a simple one. All right. So here is a file. It's not allowing me to select. I don't know what is happening. Okay, there it is. Okay. All right, so there is a file. So I upload this file. And in uploading your file, you have to ensure that the image file is either PNG, the letters PNG, or JPEG, JPEG or JPG. That's the readable format, right? Because this is not JPG or JPEG. So it's telling me the file type cannot be accepted. So you have to ensure it is JPEG or PNG. All right, and that's how you would upload your image file. You can change the size of the text. You can allow it to be bigger or smaller, depending on your student's needs. Good. You upload the file from your computer. So you get the image from your computer, or you can find one on the internet, right? So you can embed the files. You can find the files from Moodle. So you can simply just go ahead and look for files that are there already. So you can choose from what you have uploaded before. You can upload an entirely new file. Okay? So that's how you upload your image. Okay? I'm going to show you how you can export your questions. So if you have another teacher who wants to upload the same questions to her, so you're three of you are teaching the same subject and you want to ensure that your teachers are so.
Go ahead, Rochelle. I was muting everybody, but I see that I muted you as well.
Okay, because I just saw I was muted. Okay.
So just give me 1 second. Let me mute everybody because somebody is. And then let me unmute you. Yes, go ahead, Rochelle.
All right, great. So I want to export these questions to files. So you want to make sure that your teachers are getting the same questions. All the teachers who teach in the department are getting the same questions. So I simply go ahead and export questions. So I scroll all the way down. So go to my settings option, scroll all the way down to export. And the file format that you export is very important because Moodle, you have to remember that the system has to be able to read the code, right? So you want to ensure that the file format is important. So if you want to export this file for another teacher to upload on her Moodle page, you simply click on Moodle XML format. All right, so you select Moodle XML format. You can download it as a Microsoft Word format if you want to print it or use it later on. But you will always have these questions in your question bank. So I select Moodle XML format if my colleague is going to upload it on his or her Moodle platform, right? And I have to make sure I'm exporting it from the correct category. So the category is Moodle quiz, because if you select the wrong category, then the wrong set of questions will be downloaded. Now I export these files. When I export these files, it's going to be downloaded to my computer. Now I simply just email that teacher those files, and he or she will upload it. And I'm going to show you how to upload the XML documents. Now I want to import a question to this quiz. I simply click on import, like what I did with the export. Go to the file format that I'm uploading, which is the Moodle XML format. I can simply drag and drop that from my computer, or you select choose a file. I'm just going to drag and drop it. So those are the questions that I just downloaded as an XML. So I'm demonstrating how you would upload it. And I simply click import. Once I import that, you are now able to see the questions that are imported. Right? So once you see the questions that are imported, you click continue. Once I click continue, then it will show me the questions that are added. Right? So the questions are there, and it's now in my default for Moodle, and now I have 2 questions there. Good. Once I do that, you can simply move it to whichever category you want. Right? I'm not certain about the files being exported to another LMS unless the administrators would have decided what platform it can be communicating with. And
all
once
right. Yeah, Rochelle, I was answering that question in the chat, but maybe what you can do is export to Word and then import from Word. I'm not sure. I'm almost sure that they probably won't allow you to export to another competitor.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so the final step I'm going to show you now is how to import questions from a Word document. All right, so I'm going to now add another question. All right, so edit this quiz. Now, if I want to import the question from a Word document, the file format is very important. So let me open a Word document and show you that. All right, and this would have been the last demonstration how to upload from a Word file. So if you have typed the questions in your Word document, you simply just save it as a plain text, and I'm going to show you. So I'm going to have to stop this share and do a new share so you see how to save it. All right, share screen. So I'm sharing my Microsoft Word screen with you now. So my question, I'm typing, what is Moodle? And then my options, I will have A. All right. I had open software. B. I believe this is what I should have here. B. Online tool. I'm just typing back the same question. C. Microsoft Word. And D. What was the next option? I don't remember. Game. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to save this now as a plain text. So where you see the file format, how to save it, you see plain text. So plain text would have been the readable format, right? So that's the readable format to be uploaded. So this is the plain text, okay? All right, and I click OK. Now I am stop sharing this and I go back to my Moodle page. All right. Now I'm going to add a new question. Sorry, I'm going to import, my bad. So I go back here to the course page where the Moodle quiz is, and I'm going to click on import. So I go to import. Once I go to import, the file format to upload a Word document is the Aiken format. Okay, that is the file format. Once I click that, I now go on my computer and look for the file that I've just saved. Right, what is Moodle? And I'm going to drag that over. Right, and I'm going to import. If it has an error, if I need to fix something, it will not show. Right, so it says there are no questions to import, which means that something would have been off in terms of how I'm typing it in Microsoft Word, because it's very tricky to upload from a Word document, but there are full-length YouTube videos on how to do that, so you have to be specific. So it could be the simple dot that I have behind the A that's the issue, or a space. So it could be very simple things that are the issues, but you can definitely upload from a Word document once you follow all the steps to do that. All right, so I'd have to go ahead and re-edit that file and make sure it is able to be uploaded correctly. But the file format to upload a Word document is Aiken format. And remember that you have to save it as a plain text first, right? And the software that you're using matters as well. I think that's the issue sometimes. All right, so that's how you would upload from a Word document. Mr. Miller, did I leave out anything?
I think that's enough. I think that we've done quite a few things, and I'm sure that some people are feeling a little bit overwhelmed by some. So I think we can stop there and take a few questions. We both have classes in our presentation very shortly. So if you have one or two questions, you could put it in the chat. Let me see if I can address one or two of them very quickly. For people worrying about the presentation, if you're going to get to see it, we would have done another session before this, and I think it's on the JTC YouTube page, so you can go there and review that. So don't worry about failing the quiz on Friday at all. You should be able to do that. And remember, you can go on the Moodle page, moodle.org itself, and you can play around with the free trial and learn a few things there. You can go to the Moodle YouTube page and you can listen to some of the videos there, watch some of the videos again. Somebody's asking if they can purchase it for yourself. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Is Zoom visual? Yes, Zoom is visual. What Moodle allows you to do is to schedule your Zoom classes in here in Moodle, and you still use the Zoom app as you normally would. So yes, it is visual. How do I access information from Moodle? You have a username and password, and so would your students. So it would show you how to set up the username and password. I see somebody says it's not on the JTC YouTube channel. We'll make sure that it's on there, okay? So don't worry about that. Signed up. Some people have problems with registration. We cannot address that, unfortunately. We have nothing to do with the registration. All right?
And persons who are concerned about the lesson plans, you will be given further information where that is concerned as well.
All right. So how do I get from Quick Start to Moodle Classroom page, right? Click on the free trial and see, right? It's and go on that first before you do the Quick Start, okay? Click on the free trial and do a run through.
Mr. Miller, just to show the students' view on Moodle. So what's the view when students go on Moodle? What's their view like? So I'm just going to demonstrate that. I believe that's a question that we forgot to address.
Yeah.
So you simply go to the area here with your name. You click on the drop down arrow and you can simply change the view, right? So profile. This, okay. This is where you would normally go to view as a student. Hold on, dashboard. Home. All right, so when you go on your page, let me zoom out a little bit. All right, so once you're in your course, you can switch, you click on the drop down arrow, you switch the role to student. Once you switch the role to student, it shows you the view that the students have when they go on your page. So you can check what they're viewing to make sure everything that you want them to see is actually there, right? So this is the view for the students, right? And you can simply click here and return to your normal role, all right? So it's this arrow just beside your name and your picture if you decide to put a picture there, and you can simply just switch role to student or guest, and then you can return to your normal role.
Okay, another question that people are asking is if you can use this for what level? Some people are asking about kindergarten, upper school, lower school. Folks, Moodle is excellent for upper, lower school, for kindergarten, for primary school, certainly. And what you find is that students, because of this period, students are more open, and the younger students are actually more open to online learning because they're learning to use it at a younger age. Right? So don't believe that because it's primary school or because it's basic school that you can't use it. Because those students are actually less averse to using online learning than the students who have been in the system, being used to teachers being there in front of them every day. So they'll catch on actually quicker, right? It might surprise you, but that's what I have observed. And the other thing though is when you're doing like kindergarten, you have to get the parents on board, because the parents have to log them in. They have to have email addresses which the parents have to be in charge of. Google allows you to have family email address and so on. So you have to, if you're going to use it at kindergarten, you have to get the parents on board, all right? Because the kids have to have access to the devices, and the parents have to help a lot, okay? So it can be used certainly at primary school with ease once you have enough students who have access, all right, to the devices and the internet. And certainly you can use it with kindergarten as well, but you have to get the buy-in from the parents, all right?
All right, a question, the final, well, two last questions also show the YouTube video, and then you have the other question about if students can see all the courses that you teach. So the students are enrolled in specific courses and they cannot see the courses. They know the courses that you teach, and if they are not enrolled in it, they wouldn't be able to access your course. So once they're enrolled in your course, they can access the information that you have posted. To upload a YouTube video or any form of URL, Mr. Miller demonstrated URL from his Google Drive. You would simply just go ahead and add a URL. So let me show you add activity or resource. You scroll all the way down to URL, and once you have the URL, you click on it, and then you simply just paste the URL in the section that says URL, and you can give it a title. If you want the video to show on the home screen, you paste the URL in the description box as well. All right, so that's how you would upload your videos. All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. I hope you have had some some enlightenment on this platform and that you are happy to try it and to introduce it to someone else.
All right, ditto that, and it was a pleasure and a privilege to be here, and we hope that you will go forward and use it. Remember, folks, it's just having a positive attitude, just trying out things, playing around with it. Remember that little kids learn to do these things. We don't learn it because we have a fear of failure, and that's the one thing that technology does different from how we teach. Technology actually rewards failure. Right? And that's something that we need to learn to do. So when you fail, you actually learn something else, all right? When you use technology. So you're always learning, and that's why little kids are able to use it. So we need to take on that attitude that we're not gonna fear failure, we're just gonna play around with it and get better at it, okay? So I encourage you to go forth and try out the technology. And I know that in a short time, you'll be able to use it. So thank you for joining us, and I hope that you are successful in your endeavors. Thank you very much.
All right, have a good rest of the day, colleagues.